we're here in Florida visiting my aunt. And I'm catching some of the native species. The species that just live here. This is an invasive species, the curly-tailed lizard. It's a really fascinating lizard by the fact that it just eats pretty much anything. Almost like a skink. The pattern of this curly-tailed lizard is pretty prominent of being a sort of metallic copper color, a black dorsal stripe, and some coloration on the side. So, Florida, basically, it has a lot of animals, but not all of them are native. So take, for example, the Argentine black and white tegu, native to Argentina, but it's a pretty prominent species here. There's the iguana, native to South America, Central America, but it's also here in Florida. So this is a lizard introduced from overseas. It was brought as a pet and lost, I guess. A few of them were lost in a cornfield. They bred and ended up just reproducing. So its back, its belly is pretty cool. Even its throat. This is the ventral pattern. I don't want to keep it like this too much because lizards tend to not be able to breathe very well in that position. So now I'm just going to release it by placing it right here, right in the area I found it. Just put it up on a tree and then just touch it and off it goes. So look, if you look closely here now, when it's released, if you look at its tail, which should curl up once it remembers its back where it is, its tail curls up. But normally that tail would curl all the way over the back, and it just looks pretty cool when it's running and you can't grab it by the tail because its tail is over like that. So this is a red green iguana. Sounds so weird, but a very common invasive species in Florida. They can grow up to 6 feet and are completely herbivorous. This is a male, as you can tell by the size of its jowls and just its size in general. It's pretty docile, probably because it's found at a beach right here. It's pretty good with people, I guess. They're really smart animals. So, they are a diurnal species found in Central to South America and are invasive here in Florida. They can hurt you pretty badly, but they're pretty docile if you don't mess with them. They're just smart and they know what's a predator and really what isn't. Compared to most other lizards, they're gonna be one of the lizards that warms up most to people who feed them, basically.
One may wonder, how did this become such an invasive species? Well, it's just because of how rapidly they breed and how hard it is to kill them. It's so hard to kill them because they're massive. Predators can't just take them out. They have amazing camouflage, so it's not easy to find them. I mean, the red one would be easy to find just because it's a color mutation from a pet that got released. But, I mean, otherwise, it's super hard to kill them. They breed like crazy, leave all their babies everywhere. The babies are kind of social with each other, meaning that safety in numbers, they look kind of scary. And they're just incredibly fast at swimming, climbing, running. That's why they're right next to the water here, because they can just jump in if they really get spooked. So, going back to size, these things are bigger than my bearded dragon, and they're still little babies. And, I mean, look at them. You can't even see them when they're near the grass. Like, look at that. That guy, you can't even see his tail. They're also really good at digging. Digging, they have burrows. Their burrows are super hard to find. Not only that, they're really long, and they just go right in there and don't come out.
So we're here in Sawgrass Recreational Park. It's in the Everglades in Florida. We're about to go on an airboat ride. It's gonna be really cool, and we're gonna see what sort of animals we can find. Hopefully we can find gators and maybe some other species of reptile or even birds. So let's go.
So we came across our first alligator. This was a 10-foot long bull alligator. Bull means male, and this one was living extremely close to another one. Our tour guide said that he was surprised they didn't fight, because normally bull alligators will fight when near each other for extended periods of time. This guy was really, really comfortable around the boat. Like, he got super close. Though I'm guessing that he was just really curious and wasn't exactly aggressive, because as you'll see in a little bit, he didn't care when there was a turtle just swimming around him, smacking him a little bit. He did just shy away a little bit, but he didn't actually snap at it, and he also didn't seem to care that there was a boat near him. Like, you'll see the turtle in 3, 2, 1. Or that's the shot where the turtle will come into. But as you can see, he's just calm. He doesn't appear to be angry, aggravated, or anything. It seems he's just gotten used to these boats. He's like, okay, this is normal. And, oh wait, there's a turtle. Please don't hurt me, dude. Don't slap me. I don't want to be slapped. That's him. And so we came across this uncommon pescivore. It's a bird that eats fish, and it is known as the Cormorant. There's our tour guide. But it's covered in oil, allowing it to basically fly underwater and thus allowing it to catch prey easier. So it just comes right out of the water and flies away. It's a very interesting bird and normally doesn't let people get this close. This is the purple Gallinule. It is a species of waterfowl that we found next to this tortoise in Florida. They're a brightly colored species with, as you can see, those really bright feet, that red beak, that purple body, those green wings. So they're just really interesting looking. They're herbivorous, and they mostly just stay near water, but this one was in the tortoise pen. So now let's talk about this tortoise. This tortoise is an African spurred tortoise, or sulcata tortoise. Very common tortoise in the pet trade, and it grows to a massive size of about 4 feet. It's a burrowing species, so it spends a lot of its time underground. As you can see, it is a sun-loving creature, and it is incredibly slow-moving. It is herbivorous and is a pretty docile animal that doesn't really hurt any animals it comes across. So here we have a Cyclura hybrid, a beautiful iguana that's a mixture of something in the rhinoceros iguana and rock iguana family. This one was about 4 feet, and it's probably what they maxed out at. I don't know if this one was male or female, but I'm just gonna call it a male for simplicity's sake. It was stunning nonetheless. These are herbivores, and yet they still may have some protein, like crickets or other small bugs.
We're here with Will, who has a baby gator in his hands.
Say not. Hi, how you guys doing? So this is Alligator mississippiensis, the scientific name. These guys actually can range all the way from Texas all the way up to North Carolina, and that's because they actually can slow their heart rate down to about 1 beat per 5 minutes and 1 breath every several hours, and colder degrees of water, actually going into a suspended state of existence where they'll freeze their snout outside of the water, so they can continuously get oxygen to their lungs. And then as the climate starts to warm up again, the ice will start to melt, and they start to come back to life slowly. That's because these guys are ectotherms, which is a fancy way of saying cold-blooded. So ecto, outside, therm, temperature. Now these right here, these are called osteoderms. These are bones covered in scale. Now their scales are made out of keratin, just like the protein in your hair and fingernails. And these bones here look like armor, but their primary function is solar panels. So when in those colder degrees of weather, or whenever they just want to warm up in general, they sit out in the sun, these will help them warm their body up and jumpstart their metabolism. Blood runs over these bones and then gets warmed up by the sun and carried out through the rest of their body. So I will go ahead and pass it back to you.
Okay. thanks to Will for telling us some really interesting stuff about the alligator. This is a really cool place. I highly recommend you visit it. We're at Sawgrass Recreational Park. It's a really cool place to come if you're in the Florida Everglades area. So thank you.